Let's get ready for Centennial Party in 1876. It is July in Texas. We are starting off in a chemise and we are putting on split crotch drawers, at which point we take a little bit of a break and put on white cotton stockings, our garters, and some button-up shoes. Next up comes hairstyling. I'm using a combination of my real hair and false hair to create this hairstyle. Next up comes the corset for bust and back support. Yes, you can do your corset by yourself. I do it all the time. And then skirt supports. I'm wearing a primary petticoat first, and then a covered bustle to give a fashionable shape to the skirt. Next comes the dress. This is a blue cotton dress. It is in two pieces. First is a skirt with an attached overskirt decoration, and then there's also a separate bodice. The bodice closes up with tiny little glass buttons, and it is decorated with black velvet. Next, I'm putting in jewelry, a pair of earrings, and then a little brooch. Then it's off to grab my hat, and then we can go watch the Centennial games taking place at the fort. There were so many things going on throughout the whole weekend. So there were wheelbarrow races, sack races, walking along a greased pole, games of baseball. There were also speeches and salutes. A photographer even came out and took some images. Here's how mine turned out. And then after dinner and ice cream and good time with friends at the fort, we had an amazing fireworks display. Thank you so much for Fort McCaffett State Historic Site for inviting us to this wonderful Centennial event. It was a great time, and the site staff did an amazing job hosting. But if you ever find yourself in the area, I would highly suggest going by Fort McCaffett, as it is an excellent site to visit. Thanks for watching.